In this battle, I'll be taking a look at how you can steamroll the AI in the early game of Attila, mainly using war dogs. Now, war dogs are an underwhelming unit, they are not great, but the way the AI responds to the war dogs makes it a very, very effective unit at taking settlements, both walled and unwalled. So you can take a lot of settlements just by using dogs, and also by buying a single onager. Buying a single onager, because that makes the AI want to attack you. So the AI is set to respond against onagers by, and you can see it here, it's going to just try to rush the onager. So while the AI rushes the onager, I'm going to send in my dogs. Setting fire to buildings is just a bonus.
We have sighted the enemy.
It's not needed, but it makes this tactic much more effective if the enemy morale is lower. So I'm going to send in the dogs, pull away the handlers. Send in the dogs, pull away the handlers. And the AI is now going to try to... The AI is now going to try to get at me. To get at me and get at my onager. So I can set fire to the various buildings. And here you can see the Nordic levy is already starting to fall under the assault of my dog swarm. So that building's burning, that's nice. While the dogs are doing their dirty work, you can basically just set fire to enemy buildings with the onager. You don't want to be doing friendly fire to your dogs, they can't take too much fire. And the enemy towers are going to try to fire at your dogs, which is going to decrease the morale of enemy units that are in the line of fire. And also, if this happens inside the settlement, then the friendly fire is also going to set fire to enemy buildings, which is very useful. I'm going to rush in the dogs here, and you can see the dogs are doing a nice job of taking care of the enemy units, because the AI doesn't respond appropriately to the dogs. So it's very easy to start mass routes by only using dogs. And early game, the AI doesn't have a lot of great units. Very low armor overall. Low armor, low morale, great stuff for dogs to chew. And then I like having a second unit of dogs coming in and destroying the enemy units in the rear. Now, a nice bonus here is that the dogs are actually going to be able to capture points inside the city. So when you get the dogs inside the city and they run after enemy units, enemy routing units, they are actually going to be able to capture those points, which is useful. Here we have the dogs chewing on the Nordic bows. A cavalry unit gets into my dogs here, but it doesn't really matter. It's nice to not lose the handlers, because losing the handlers is obviously going to mean that you won't get as many dogs back in the after the battle. Whereas if you don't lose the handlers, then the dogs are just going to be able to replenish very quickly. And that is the main thing about this tactic, is that you're going to be able to replenish your army between each battle, so that you don't have to wait until you can start steamrolling the AI again, which is very useful. Here you see a unit being broken by a combination of friendly fire and of dogs, basically. I have a few dog units left.
Enemy units
Not a whole lot, but there
return
are
to the
still
battle.
some dog
We're being
units.
ambushed.
And they will have problems dealing with enemy general units and such. However, what makes this strategy so powerful in the early game is the lack of armor on enemy troops. And here you can see the AI doing the wrong thing when trying to counter dogs.
Today is yours.
The enemy is going to run towards your onager or towards your other units and ignore the dogs, which enables the dogs to do a lot of damage. And also, if you send in dogs from several directions, dogs running past and getting stuck on towers and such, they're going to be able to capture that tower. And also, let's say I have a dog, some dogs running around in the settlements. This tower is going to try to fire at them, and in dense, here you can see it actually. The tower tries to hit the dog, but it doesn't hit the dog very easily. So this is going to, if there were buildings here, this is going to set fire to the enemy buildings very quickly and do a lot of damage inside of the settlement. So the war dog strategy is very easy. It's very OP in the early game against the AI, and I was able to conquer pretty much half of Europe using this strategy, buying a single onager, having a full stack of dogs, sometimes 2 stacks of dogs, very low upkeep, and I was able to basically steamroll with that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that in my Let's Play series, because it's very overpowered even against walled settlements. But it's if you found the campaign too hard, this exploit allows you to get a huge empire very quickly. So heroic victory, you get quite a lot of heroic victories when using dogs like this. So I was able to. This is a very typical. The reason why I picked this army is because it's a very typical early game army for the AI, with a lot of levy spears, levy melee units, low level skirmishers, and then a few cavalry units. So against something like this, I think the kills speak for themselves. War dogs are super powerful. Strength and honor.